Is whey protein really as good as everyone makes it out to be? What does it even do and why is it so good at it? Let's talk about that. How's it going, guys? My name's Richie Kirwan. I'm a nutritionist and nutrition researcher at Liverpool John Moores University, and you're watching the Myprotein YouTube channel. This is the channel that brings you need-to-know info on how to fuel your body and train to be your strongest self. Today, I'm going to talk about everybody's favorite protein powder, whey. Whey protein is the golden boy of protein powders, and for good reason. And in this video, we're going to talk about what it is, what makes it different from other proteins, what are the different types of whey, and what is it used for? What makes it so damn good for building muscle? So the first thing to talk about is what whey is. Milk is made of two major types of protein. The majority is a protein called casein, which doesn't dissolve very well in water. And the remainder is made of whey proteins, which dissolve really well. The easy way to think of it is this. When we make cheese from milk, the casein proteins coagulate together and form the solid cheese. The remaining liquid that drains off is called whey, and for years it was considered a waste product, and dairies actually had to pay to have it disposed of. Just think of all those wasted gains. They then realized that whey contains whey proteins, which are really high quality, and that's how whey became the $1 million industry that it is today. So remember, the next time someone tells you that whey isn't natural, just tell them it's as much a part of the cheese making process as cheese itself. Most of you watching are probably interested in building muscle, and most of you know that protein is essential for building it, and more specifically for a process called muscle protein synthesis, or MPS. You all probably know that protein is made up of amino acids, and of all of them, the amino acid leucine is the most important for sending signals to start the muscle building process. MPS is when you add more amino acids to your muscle to build and repair them, and you can stimulate it with exercise and by eating protein. The more you can increase MPS by eating protein, the more likely you will be to build muscle over time. There are a couple of reasons why whey is such a high quality protein compared to others. Firstly, whey is very high in the amino acid leucine, which, as we said, is the amino acid mostly responsible for stimulating muscle growth. In fact, to stimulate muscle growth to the maximum, you need to have a certain minimum level of leucine in your meals. And once you get above it, that's when muscle protein synthesis really switches on fully. This is called the leucine threshold. If a food contains a lot of leucine, it helps you hit the leucine threshold easily and can help with muscle growth. And like I said, whey is very high in leucine. Secondly, whey is a very quickly absorbed protein. And that means amino acids in whey can get into your bloodstream fast and help stimulate muscle growth. Basically, whey, especially whey shakes, gets amino acids into your blood more quickly than almost any other type of protein. And that's what helps you reach the leucine threshold faster. Finally, whey is rich in all the other essential amino acids that we need for the muscle building process. And this is why whey powder is better than just taking some essential amino acids on their own. You see, whey has both the signal, leucine, for starting muscle growth, and all the other amino acids needed for making new protein and building those muscles. So whey really is great for building muscle. But what about the different types of whey? Whey concentrate is the simplest form of whey and is what you get when whey is neutralized and continuously filtered. Compared to the other types of whey, it's slightly lower in its percentage of protein and higher in the amounts of fat and carbs it contains. Those carbs will be mostly lactose. So if you're lactose intolerant, you might want to be cautious with whey concentrate. Whey isolate is further processed and purified to remove the fat and the carbs from the whey concentrate. It's a little higher in protein percentage, lower in fat and carbs, and also lower in calories. People who are lactose intolerant often find they have no problem with whey isolate because the lactose has been removed. But remember, there still can be a little left over. Finally, there's whey hydrolysate, which has been partially broken down or hydrolyzed to make it easier and quicker to absorb, which may improve recovery speed. While this might not be useful for muscle growth, if you're training multiple times daily, it could help you recover and perform well in your later sessions in the day by helping to get amino acids from your stomach to your muscles faster. With all this talk of whey, you probably want to know how much to take. If your goal is muscle gain, it's important to remember that your total daily protein should be at least 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. So for a 70 kilogram person, that's a minimum of 28 grams of protein at each meal. This is why 30 grams of protein is used as a general rule of thumb for protein. Remember, The higher the quality of protein, the less you probably need to stimulate MPS. So if you're eating lower quality proteins, like some plant proteins for example, you just need to eat more to have the same effect on muscle growth. So when should you take whey? Well, you can take it anytime with any meal. You can have it as a shake or mixed into food. But here are a few tips for timing your protein throughout the day. Getting some whey protein after a gym session is a good time, as your MPS has already been stimulated by exercise, and you can stimulate it even more with added protein. But you don't need to take it immediately after your session. People used to think that there was a short period after a workout when you just needed to have protein or you wouldn't get any benefits at all. That was called the anabolic window. But now we know that you don't have to have protein straight away, and the total daily protein is probably more important. So having protein at any time after your workout is a good idea, but trying to eat some protein within a couple of hours of training might be useful too. In fact, you can probably benefit from the MPS stimulating effect for up to 24 hours after a training session. So stimulating it multiple times a day might be a good idea. Another thing to remember about stimulating muscle growth with protein is that once MPS starts, you might want to wait and leave the whole process go to completion before you can restart MPS with another dose of protein. You see, there's an idea called the refractory period, which is a time after starting MPS where you probably can't restart it again. Some research indicates that the refractory period takes around 3 hours. You see, you might want to try eating protein constantly throughout the day so you're constantly building muscle, but MPS doesn't seem to work like that. In an ideal scenario, you could have 5 or 6 protein meals a day spaced out by 3 hours each, but in reality, 4 meals is probably a good compromise for growing muscle and not having to spend your whole day thinking about food. So there you have it. Whey is an easily digested, high quality protein that is full of essential amino acids you need for growing muscle. Did that answer your questions? As always, if you have any more, let me know in the comments, and remember to like and subscribe to the Myprotein YouTube channel for more great evidence-based nutrition information.